First, in the United States, investigations by Congress, the Department of Justice, and the media have uncovered a very large number of contacts between Russian citizens associated with your government and high officials of the Trump campaign. And some of those officials are now being prosecuted for lying about those contacts. All this is not normal. And many Americans are saying where there's that much smoke, there must be fire. How would you explain to Americans the sheer number of contacts between the Trump campaign and your government? And second, if I may, it's almost been a year since Donald Trump has been elected president. You praised Donald Trump during the campaign. What is your assessment of Donald Trump as president after 1 year? Спасибо.
Well,
let me start from the second part of your question. It is not up to me to give an assessment of how President Trump is doing. It is up to the American citizens, those who elected him. Objectively, we see some serious achievements accomplished even during short span he is president. Look at the markets, how they've grown. This attests to the trust investors show in the American economy. They have trust in what President Trump is doing in this particular field. You know, with all due respect for the opposition of President Trump's opposition within the U.S., it is an evident fact. I believe there are some things President Trump would like to do, but so far he's been unable to, such as the health care system reform, some other avenues. He also had spoken about trying to improve relations with Russia in his foreign policy. Evidently, even if he had wanted that, so far he was unable to do that due to the restrictions you are well aware of. You have to ask him if he still wants to do that, or maybe it's over. I do hope he wants to improve relations with Russia, and in the end, it is in the interests of the American people and the Russian people, and I do hope that we'll normalize our relations, we'll develop together, we'll overcome joint threats which are well known, such as terrorism, addressing the environmental issues, fighting the spread of WMDs, overcoming of crises in different regions of the world, including the Middle East, the issue of North Korea. There are many things which we can address far more efficiently if we pool our efforts together, more efficiently than right now. I think that's it.
How would you explain the connection between the government, your government,
да. Послушайте, но
послушайте. How would you explain it to Americans?
I see. Значит, вы знаете, но это все придумано.
You know, all of this has been invented, made up by people who are in opposition to President Trump with a view to shedding a negative light on what President Trump is doing. And for me, it is very bizarre. It's as if they were doing that without understanding one simple fact. By doing that, the people who are responsible for that, dealing a blow to the internal political environment of the country. And they restrict, they impede what President Trump is doing. That means they do not respect those who voted for Mr. Trump. And how do you imagine that? The electoral process all across the world. Do you suppose any contacts with foreign powers have to be prohibited? Our ambassador was accused of meeting someone, but it is just common universal practice when diplomatic representatives or even members of the government meet all candidates, their teams, talk about some issues, the prospects for development, try to understand what this or that person is going to do if he or she arrives in power, how to respond to that. So what's wrong with that? That someone has decided to fuel this espionage campaign and spy fever. Just look at the investigations in the social networks, the advertisements of our companies account just for, I don't know, a meager fraction, whereas American companies account for hundreds of % of all the advertisements shown in social networks. So this is incomparable, and still they think that our advertisements are excessive. It is just absurd. Or look at our media, such as Russia Today or Sputnik. Their share and the overall information pool is negligible, just minuscule as compared to what the Western media, the American media are doing, especially in Russia, and they see our media as a threat. And where did the freedom of press go? Isn't it one of the cornerstones of the American democracy itself? I believe all of us have to understand. Some do one thing better, others other things. And we've got to make conclusions and just go forward without trying to be at one another's throats.